Here you go.
I'd like to call to order the Eastpointe joint meeting for Thursday, December 7th, with the Zoning Board of Appeals as well as the Planning Commission. Our secretary has stepped out. Vice Chair, if you would please call the roll of the Planning Commission.
Ms. Moody is absent.
Excused.
Chairman DeHaan.
Here.
Vice Chairman Lubeck is here. Commissioner Lalonde.
Present.
Commissioner Naylor.
Here.
Commissioner Broll has stepped out but is here. And Secretary Ulinsky has stepped out and is here.
Thank you.
It
Chairman
would have
Wilson.
been better if I would have had my microphone.
Chairman Wilson.
Can I get a roll call for the ZBA, please?
You want me to do that? Okay.
Commissioner Gladney,
Present.
Commissioner Roscoe,
Present.
Commissioner Stokes,
Here.
Commissioner Swerkos,
Here.
Chair Wilson.
Here.
We don't see Commissioner or Member Hudson, and then Member Williams.
We'll open the first hearing of the public. If anybody wishes to be heard, they have 3 minutes to speak. I see absolutely nobody in the audience, but we'll go through the formality. Does anybody wish to be heard? Does anybody wish to be heard? Does anybody wish to be heard? Seeing none, we will close the first hearing of the public. Chairman Wilson.
All right. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Is the mic on?
It should be on. I'm using my outside voice. Hopefully you can.
Maybe put a little bit
Has everybody had a
closer.
chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes.
Is there any alterations or adjustments to the minutes? Being none, may I get a motion?
She can't hear.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Swerkos,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Member Williams.
Minutes are approved. Moving on.
I believe we have a request from our audio-visual person. Maybe we need to use our outside voices a little bit. I don't think she can be heard people can be heard too well. And as it was pointed out, we did not get an approval of the agenda, so I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
We have motion. Do we have support?
Support.
Oh, I think we'll do us first, and then we'll do you guys. Or you'll do you
I thought
guys.
that was a joint part. Sorry.
It's okay.
No, I think we can do it jointly.
Because it's a joint meeting.
Can we do it jointly, or do you want two separate? Two separate? Okay.
I'll support.
We have motion and support from Planning Commission. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck,
Yes.
Mr. Broll,
Yes.
Ms. Naylor,
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde,
Yes.
Ms. Ulinsky, yes. Chairman DeHunt,
Yes. Chairman Wilson.
Can I get roll call or
Approval of the agenda.
approval of the agenda?
I'll move that we approve the ZBA agenda for the joint meeting December 7th, 2023.
Can I get a second?
Support.
May I get a vote?
I believe it was Mr. Williams. Mr. Roscoe, thank you.
Mr. Roscoe?
Member Swerkos?
Yes.
Okay. Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
and Member Williams.
Chairman Wilson, I think the floor is yours for a little bit here.
Okay, so we got the approval of minutes done. Is there any discussion on the preface?
Can we move the mic a little closer to you? Yeah.
Okay, is there any discussion on the preface that was pending?
Actually, Chairman, it was the reading of the preface, but the board could just vote to waive that under the circumstances. It's done so at a previous meeting.
Make a motion to waive the reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
May I get a call? Roll call.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the motion.
May I get a motion to waive reading of the prefix?
Who made the
Or
I
preface.
didn't hear who made the motion. I'm
I
sorry.
made the motion.
Oh, thank you, Chair. Oh. Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Member Swirkos,
Yes.
Member Williams.
Yes.
Okay, that's been moved. Moving on to, didn't we already do hearing of the public? Okay, moving on to new business for the zoning board. Is there any discussion on the approving the 2024 planning commission calendar? I don't think we're approving the planning commission. I think we're approving the zoning board calendar. Is there any discussion on the 2024 calendar? Being none, may I get a motion to approve the calendar as written?
Make a motion that we approve the 2024 calendar as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Member Williams,
Yes.
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Member Swirkos,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes. Calendar is approved. Moving on, consider approving the zoning board of appeals orientation packet. Has anybody had a chance to look that over? Has everybody looked over the packet for orientation?
Excuse me, Chairman Wilson?
Yes.
I'm not sure if that microphone's on.
Ed, I was told it was on. I'm hearing my voice.
It's on.
It's,
Apparently, you're almost going to have to eat the microphone as you're speaking.
very well. All right, have the members read and had a chance to read the orientation pack for the zoning board? Is there any discussion on the packet?
We, at the one meeting, we were supposed to finalize, board for the ZBA. I think the secretary was one that wasn't approved yet. Is that part of this or?
I do not see, that would be under unfinished business.
Other than that, make a motion that we approve the orientation board of appeals package. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and support. May I get a roll call, please?
Member Williams,
Yes.
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Member Swirkos,
Yes.
Chair Wilson.
Yes, packet is approved. Moving on to unfinished business, review the adopted preface from May 19th, 2022. And help me out here, we revised it and we have not adopted it yet?
Chair,
Yes.
thank you.
My goodness. Proceed, please.
Chair. Okay. Yes, so I reviewed the minutes and the ZBA approved and adopted the preface in the May 19th, 2022 meeting.
Stokes, Hall, Rayford, Creech, and Wilson were in attendance and voted to approve and adopt the preface.
So.
So
what's its
this
purpose on
is,
the agenda?
say that again, Chair?
What is its purpose on the agenda today?
So the purpose of the agenda is to maintain clarity or establish clarity that the preface is adopted and ready to go. And it's before you, right before the minutes of April 21st, within your packet, right after the minutes of July. So this is just a receive and file agenda item, but to establish clarity that the preface is good to go.
Okay, very good. Moving on. Consideration of nominating a.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
there should be a vote to approve the preface. There was, just so the board, just to refresh everyone's recollection, this was first before the board back on April 21st of 2022, and the board voted to table until the next meeting for approval of the preface. At the May 19, 2022 meeting, the board did vote to approve the preface. There was a question that was raised by member Hall Rayford, though, about the number of members to make a quorum, and the minutes reflect that best practice is to have a quorum of 5 rather than 4 to avoid a vote. It then was before the board for discussion back on June 15th of this year. The question being is that the preface refers to quorum being 5 of the members. The zoning ordinance, which provides for the creation of this board, doesn't have a specific number, but it does talk about a majority of the board constituting the quorum. And the board's bylaws also do not use a number specific. It refers to a majority of the board. So just to bring everyone up to speed, I think that's where the discussion was and how the board wanted to proceed and what language the board was comfortable with the preface.
thank you, Counselor.
You're welcome.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the preface? Moving on, consideration of nominating a secretary.
Mr. Chair, there should be a vote, though, by the board as to what language, because that was the discussion as to what language. Should it be the preface that includes the number certain of 5 constituting a majority, or did the board want to go in a different direction? So there should be a vote to approve what that language should read. So at future meetings, then we don't have to waive the reading of the preface. We can actually read it for any applicants.
Very well. Is there any discussion on the preface?
Coach, I'm just going to for clarity, so if we have 5 right now, 4 form to vote, and then flexibility,
We have a minimum of 5 as a quorum, and you would need a majority of 3.
so we're not changing.
Right, we're not changing. The
No,
question-
Mr. Chair, there are 7 members on the zoning board of appeals, so 4 would constitute a majority. What the proposed preface indicates is that 5 would constitute a quorum. So that's where the previous discussion was at.
So we could revise the language of the preface to either say 4 members constitute a quorum, with 4 being a majority of the 7 regular members, or we could say a majority of the regular members of the zoning board of appeals constitute a quorum. Either one is technically correct and consistent with the zoning ordinance and the bylaws.
Yes, or the board could choose to use the number 5 in the preface, but knowing that that would be inconsistent with both the zoning ordinance and the board's bylaws. That would, but if you wanted to go with 5, then there should be some discussion about possibly changing the bylaws too, just so there's a consistency.
Well, I believe we should make an adjustment to the preface to reflect bylaws as written. Any other discussion? Anybody else want to discuss this?
I'm not clear. If you, the bylaws say one way.
I have a copy, I can read what the current
Please do,
bylaws.
sir.
The bylaws, zoning board of appeals bylaws were adopted back on April 21st, 2022, and they read, under Article 4, Meetings, Section 2, a majority of the full membership of the ZBA, that is, the number of regular members of the ZBA as established by City Council, which is 7, shall constitute a quorum, and the number of votes necessary to transact business shall be a majority of the full membership present and voting of the ZBA. So if the board wants to have that language reflected in the preface, that would then change, and the number 5 would just be removed.
Four being the majority.
Mara, did you want to comment at all on that? Would the city administration want to comment at all on that? Provide additional
Please.
clarification?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I think that the recommendation would be that 4 would be the majority.
Yes.
And it would be sufficient, and so remove the 5 in the quorum requirement. So if we could have a motion that the preface state that the majority is the 4 members, and it can be edited as such.
Okay, I make a motion to draft a new preface adjusting the 5-member constituted quorum be changed to 4. May I get a second, please?
Support.
May I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Roscoe, Member Roscoe is very fast. Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Member Roscoe, Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes, Member Swirkus,
No.
and Member Williams.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to nominations for secretary. Mr. Williams, if elected, will you serve as secretary?
Yes.
I'll second.
Oh, it's not up for vote yet.
Oh, I thought that was.
No.
I'm sorry.
We're looking for nominations. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Well, help me out here. I'm blanking on elections. Do we need a motion or?
Yes, a motion for
Okay, I
secretary,
make a motion to elect
appoint.
Ed Williams as the new zoning board of appeals secretary.
Support.
May I get a roll call, please?
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Stokes, Member Swirkus,
Yes.
and Member Williams, the new secretary.
Yes. Yes.
Congratulations, Mr. Williams, on becoming the new ZBA secretary. Thank you very much. Okay, and then moving on to the second hearing of the public. John, you want to take that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We will move on to the second hearing of the public, and I will play my Sheldon Cooper. Does anybody wish to be heard? Does anybody wish to be heard? Does anybody wish to be heard? Seeing none, we will close the second hearing of the public, and it is my pleasure to move into item 10, training, and introduce Ms. Stephanie Pena.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Can everyone hear me okay? Hopefully.
Outside voice.
Outside voice, okay. I'm very soft-spoken, so I will definitely try to speak louder. Is it on? The green light is on. Oh, there. I just have
There
to
we
be
go.
really close. Hopefully you can sanitize this after. Thank you all for having me this evening. I've had the pleasure to speak in front of the Planning Commission, so I'm really excited to speak with you all on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So this evening, as mentioned in your packets, I have the pleasure of discussing with you Michigan Economic Development Corporation's Redevelopment Ready Communities Initiative. So this is a toolkit that we deploy across the state. Sorry, I believe there's a small lag. There we go. This is a toolkit that's deployed by the MEDC statewide. So tonight I'll just do a quick overview for those who are not familiar on MEDC and our role within the state. Then lean into an overview of the Redevelopment Ready Communities Initiative, of which the city of Eastpointe has been engaged in since 2014 and is currently holding the certified designation. And then lastly, we'll talk a little bit more about the successes the city of Eastpointe has had while being engaged in the toolkit, and looking forward at what it takes to maintain engagement within the program if desired. So looking broader, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is the statewide economic development agency. So our team works in partnership with over 40 local economic development corporations, regional and local partners to deploy various state funds, initiatives, grant programs, loans to try to ensure that the state of Michigan is a place where we see greater investment. So this means an increase in population, an attraction of business and talent, and ensuring that we have a beautiful place to support active tourism. So if you guys are all familiar with the Pure Michigan campaign, that's within sort of our tool belt. We also have Main Street Michigan. We also have a lot of team members that work on industrial projects, sort of like the redevelopment of industrial sites, brownfield TIF. And then we do a lot of work around revitalization of downtown. So we provide gap financing to help projects come to fruition. So in order to guide a lot of our efforts, the MEDC has a series of different strategic focus areas. So that's what you see before you. Specifically, the strategic focus area that I primarily work with is developing attractive places. So this goes towards ensuring that we have vibrant downtowns or commercial corridors to try to, again, to attract the talent, residents, and business to continue supporting flourishing local economies. So when we're looking at the Redevelopment Ready Communities program, this is a volunteer-based technical assistance program deployed by the MEDC that's available to all communities across the state. Essentially what our RC is a framework. It's a toolkit of a series of 6 best practices that assist communities in streamlining their planning, zoning, and economic development efforts, all with the goal of positioning your community to support greater investment, to support revitalization and redevelopment efforts in the vein that you would like to see. So our toolkit is very flexible. It's not prescriptive. While we do employ this across the state, we work with over 300 communities, and each community is different. A Grand Rapids is going to be very different from a Grayling, which is going to be very different from a Harrison, which will be very different from you all here in Eastpointe. So our best practices are simply guiding frameworks that are meant to encourage a community to rethink their development processes in order to streamline them, make them transparent, to support greater vibrancy and density in your downtowns or commercial corridors, and to support greater housing availability within your community. So the way that we deploy this toolkit is that we really emphasize coalition building at the municipality level. So we try to ensure that any planning or zoning or economic development effort is done, it's community driven, that it's done in a collaborative environment that is being proactive and mindful of the community's future redevelopment vision, and that it ultimately be something that's implementable. I think we all are familiar with plans and documents that are very aspirational, but oftentimes they can just sit on the shelf. So we try to encourage communities to embed evaluative methods in their planning processes so that you're constantly evaluating the goals and objectives outlined in your master plans or your zoning plans or your development and TIF plans, and then determining how successful you've been in implementing them, and then determining if any need to be adjusted or written in a different manner to get the community where it wants to go in the future. So when we're looking at involvement in RRC, there's a multitude of benefits. So ideally, we hope that communities can take advantage of streamlining their development process. I think Eastpointe's very familiar because with all of your work with the zoning ordinance and previous efforts, you guys have done a lot to reimagine the development review process. And we often see that communities who have arduous site plan review processes that have public notices and public hearings for by right uses, or often have very strict regulations, what that does is that elongates timelines. It makes you not business friendly. It makes it difficult for developers or investors to want to invest in your community and build in your community. So ensuring that these processes are streamlined are what's going to turn around and hopefully create an environment that will be more susceptible and welcoming to greater investment. We also provide ongoing technical assistance in a variety of ways. So I personally am part of a team of 5 planners that work for the state. We all have different levels of skill set and always are available to you all and to the municipality if there's ever any planning or zoning or economic development questions. In moments where we are not sure of certain things, we can always connect anyone to other state departments like EGLE or DNR or MDOT. Anyone who would be relevant. And then we also have technical assistance in the form of grant dollars. So Eastpointe has taken advantage of our grant dollars. Most recently with the updating of the zoning ordinance, we were able to provide some technical support for that. And going forward, as you continue to engage in the program, that those are dollars that you can continue taking advantage of. And then lastly, one of the things that I really think that we should probably get reconnected with is our redevelopment services team. So as a benefit to being a certified RRC community, you all have access to our redevelopment services team, and this is a very unique team that has a specific skill set to help you realize a catalytic redevelopment project within your downtown or your concentrated area of corridors, so such as 9 Mile. So for you all, it would be Jennifer Tucker. She's new to the role as of last month, and she's someone that can come in, walk areas of interest with you all, identify potential properties that could use some pre-development assistance dollars that their team can deploy. On average, it's about $30,000 every year for you all to have access to that, depending on availability. And they're willing to work with any business or building owner that's willing and reasonable and willing to redevelop their site. So lots of opportunity with that. So leaning into where the city currently is at. So like I mentioned before, the city engaged in our RRC in 2014, and then you all were the 3rd city in the state of Michigan that received RRC certified designation. So it's been many, many years, and a part of RRC is that once you receive this quote-unquote designation, it means that you're 100% aligned to our best practices. And I could definitely show you what that looks like. I just didn't want to get too into the weeds. But if you want, we can definitely explore that. But essentially, after you reach designation, you have sort of this maintenance period for a couple years where then you sort of take advantage of other technical assistance programs we have, and then ensure that you maintain alignment with the best practices. There's a total of 6 best practices, everything from planning, zoning, to boards and commissions, to development review processes, to priority redevelopment sites. So it's easy to become out of alignment with these things because, as you know, the master plan, you review it every 5 years, and then it's recommended that you review it every 5 years, but oftentimes what we've seen historically is not a lot of communities are in that process. So we serve as a good reminder to do that review, to do your annual CIP, to prepare your annual planning commission report, different things like that. So it's easy to come out of alignment. And in order to encourage communities to maintain that alignment, we have these things called certified designation periods. So that's where you guys are right now. So you've gotten certified 3 times now since 2014, and right now you are currently in a 5-year designation period that will end in December of 2025. So you guys are essentially sitting cozy. You're 66% aligned with the toolkit, doing really well, making good progress at regaining that 100% alignment. And the expectation / aspiration would be for you all to get back up to 100% by 2025. I know that can be confusing, so we can definitely talk about that more if anyone has questions. But we also have, and Ian has this, and I can send it out to you, but earlier this year, in February, I prepared a certified snapshot, so it just highlights the city of Eastpointe standing in the best practices right now, and makes recommendations of where to go moving forward. Does anybody have questions?
What does it take to get to 100%?
So it's a multitude of different things for you all. I think I would have to look at your, I'm not on the internet right now, but it looks like you have to update the implementation progress of your master plan. You have to report the year's public engagement to City Council, public engagement efforts. So what sort of efforts have you done to engage the public? Ensuring that all your development-related resources are posted online, that your applications for your boards and commissions, that the recruitment process be posted online. So what does it take to apply to a board? After an applicant submits an application, what do they expect? How long are they waiting? Are they going to hear back from somebody in the city? How long will the city hold on to their application? And a training strategy for your development-related boards and commissions. So we only care, our purview is only development-related boards and commissions. So we look at the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, any TIF agency, any Economic Development Corporation, any organization that deals with local economic development incentives. So we're looking at that, and then we're also looking, I think the bigger ones are ensuring that the community has a comprehensive economic development strategy, a comprehensive marketing plan, and that you all list your economic development incentives online in a very clear and concise way.
Thank you.
So it sounds like a lot when I say it out like this, but they're efforts that Ian and Kim have been working, and Mara as well, diligently at, and it's just a matter of updating a few things here and there.
If I can ask, just out
Yeah.
of curiosity, what do the best practices section 5 refer to that we seem to be blank on? What was that
Yeah,
specifically?
so that's the 5.1 is the economic development strategy. The 5.2 is the making sure that you post any of your local economic development tools. So like any incentives you offer for development, posting those online and making sure that the application process for that is transparent. And then 5.3 is ensuring that the community has a marketing plan. So telling your story of why it matters to invest in Eastpointe. So I think for the economic development strategy and the marketing plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but the city's respective plans, they're a little bit outdated. So once we get past 5 years old, we like to try to encourage a community to reevaluate the plans and ensure that it's up to date and reflecting the current initiatives.
Thank you.
Yeah. And all of these best practices, and I can make sure to forward to Ian too. Ian also has access. So the way that we evaluate communities is a very transparent process. So we actually have a best practice handbook that lists out all the expectations of all of the best practices. So you can see what the expectations are, where we would like communities to be. And you could also look we have a resource library online where there's examples of how other communities have met the expectations. To be quite honest, you guys are a community that we often use as a reference for other communities, so you can kind of ask Ian or Mara or Kim to look at what you've done. And we're also revamping the RRC library, so that is going to be something that hopefully will be more user-friendly coming down the line. Okay.
May I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
How many communities in Michigan have this designation?
Yeah, so we have over 60 communities, so 300 plus engaged in RRC. 60 communities have been designated as certified communities. And then in 2021, we created sort of a lower tier system for communities that had restricted capacity called the Essentials Pathway. And there's been about 17 communities that have reached that designation.
Do you find that most of the communities that have the designation are typically more of your older community, older city, you know, built out, we're an older community. We have redevelopment needs, maybe somewhere out, 20 miles north here wouldn't have the same needs.
Honestly, it differs. I don't think that there's it honestly comes down to capacity. So with the political climates of certain communities, it kind of ebbs and flows. So there could be certain years where a community is very engaged and really aspiring to do redevelopment, but then with a change of council or planning commissioners, it could go a totally different direction. But what we have seen is that a lot of our southeastern communities, because RRC was technically a toolkit, we've had it at the state for 10 years, but prior to those 10 years, it was a toolkit that was deployed, I forget by which organization, but it was focused here in Southeast Michigan, so it has been here longer. So there's a bit more familiarity. And I can say that having worked across the state in other communities, the communities over here tend to be a bit more development savvy, and I think it does lend to what you're mentioning, the greater density and the built out, the nature of the built environment in this area does lend to more engagement, more sort of progress in the toolkit, but we've more recently, since COVID, I've been seeing a lot of our rural communities reach a lot more designations quicker than Southeast Michigan, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you.
So before we wrap it up tonight, I wanted to mention a couple of points of successes in regards to Eastpointe. So we're just here to provide support, and I think that there's been a couple of opportunities because of Eastpointe's dedicated staff that you guys have been able to take advantage of different funding opportunities that have then spurred to support other activities in the community. So you guys were able to take advantage of technical assistance dollars. It was about $30,000 for your zoning ordinance update in 2023, and that really was born out of your guys' 9-mile what was it called, Mara? The 9-mile redevelopment?
Corridor plan.
The corridor plan, yes. So from that 9-mile corridor plan that McKenna did, which I feel like is a success attributed to you all envisioned what a better zoning ordinance could look like to reimagine a lot of your areas of activity within the city. And then this past year, you all were awarded a CEDAM Fellow, a Community Economic Development Association of Michigan Fellow, John, who works under Ian and Kim. And this is a really, really great opportunity, a very competitive process within the state of Michigan where 10 individuals who have a passion for community and economic development are placed within municipalities to help build up their capacity. And you all were granted John, so he started back in the late summer, early fall. And what's great about his efforts is that he's been able to take on some really exciting things around green infrastructure and reimagining how the trees could look along 9-mile and other initiatives around resiliency. I know, I believe he's helping on small business efforts as well, if I'm correct. But that's a great benefit. We fund his role here with the city providing match. And then while not completely tied to RRC, but a little bit tangentially, the city was able to take advantage of RAP funding, the Revitalization and Placemaking funding round. It was the second round of ARPA dollars that were dispersed from the federal government to the state through MEDC, and we allotted those to various real estate and placemaking projects to help encourage vibrancy. So you all were awarded $1 million this past year as well. So there's definitely been a lot of successes, but I think I personally am interested in the successes that the city has done with the zoning ordinance and how that's going to be implemented. And it sounds amazing that you guys are already considering areas where maybe you have to adjust a little bit after implementation. So that's a great sign. And then you're also going to be doing the master plan coming up soon. which will be another great area to really think through what potential updates or visioning for the community could look like in the future. So I think I mentioned this, but if anybody wanted to ask a little bit more questions, I had just made a list. It goes back to that annual maintenance of adherence to the best practices. And most important is just, so you do have an economic development strategy. It's just, it needs to be reported to the city council. And again, we recommend that it be reported in order to measure evaluation and implementation progress. And then the same with the master plan. So it goes back to ensuring that you guys are setting up these systems of sustainable evaluation, that you're regularly encouraging your boards and commissions, and that the municipal staff take those times regularly to determine if certain goals and objectives are still relatable to the community, or determine if they need to be updated to reflect a different direction that the community would like to go. And then just a quick graphic, and you actually can't see it very well on the screen, so we can definitely send this out, but one thing that we try to remind communities, especially with the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals being here today, is that a lot of what the best practices encourages is streamlining your redevelopment vision through your foundational planning documents. So your master plan and your development and TIF plan, public engagement plan, your capital improvements plan, things of that nature. And it just comes down to really bringing through that community vision for your ultimate redevelopment vision. It's deployed through identifying it in your master plan and then reflects in changes in your zoning plan. But one thing that a lot of our communities sometimes often forget is the value of code enforcement. So as you all are reconsidering zoning ordinance updates following your big rewrite, something that's important to look at is how well you're enforcing that. So you've already written a great document with the help of McKenna, but what are the teeth behind that document to ensure that there's adherence to the changes that you all are requesting from your fellow investors and developers in the community? So we have tons of resources online. I know before I finish, and I'm happy to take more questions, I did want to mention, and we shared it with Ian earlier, but as of today, the MISTA, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, they announced their Housing Readiness Program Grant Initiative, which is a $5 million pot of money that would award communities at most $50,000 to update their master plan or zoning ordinance, as long as you're really centering increasing housing inventory and affordability for your community. So Eastpointe is a great applicant for this. There's no match required. Applications open on January 16th. It's a rolling application process, so that money will be dispersed until it's all dried up. So definitely encourage you all, as you're thinking about the master plan or other documents, to potentially, I think Ian already has his brain working on some ideas. So yeah, that's just a great opportunity, and I'm happy to always share those resources. Feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions, or you connect with Ian and Mara, and they can also get your questions to me as well. But I can take any questions too, or we could talk about anything. Yes.
I just had one question about the 100% goal. We're at 66% now.
Mm-hmm.
What's the minimum that we would have to reach if we don't reach 100 to get that certification?
So unfortunately, if you don't reach 100% realignment, then, and we just had a community go through this, is we would have the conversation about potentially disengaging from the program or moving down to the engagement level. So that means you would lose access to, so one of the things that I should mention that you have, when you reach certified designation, you get more technical assistance dollars. So it goes from, for the certified pathway, it goes from getting $40,000 during your whole span of engagement. You then get $50,000 for every 5-year period. So in 2025, your $50,000 is going to renew. If you weren't going to reach that 100% alignment, you would scale down to just $40,000. And the two other areas where you would also lose access to, you would lose access to Jennifer Tucker, the redevelopment services. and she has that $30,000 a year bucket for pre-development assistance. And then you would also lose access to apply to Match on Main, which I'm glad you mentioned that, because Match on Main is going to open up January of 2024. It's a funding round put on by our small business team that you all have access to. It's a very limited pot of money that only communities that are either Main Street communities or RRC certified communities have access to. And that can award, I believe it's $20,000 to a small business to help scale them up. So it can be used to buy product and inventory, white box commercial space out, different things. So that would be a thing that if you didn't reach 100%, you would lose access. But it's super easy to get back up to certified. We're a very flexible tool. We try not to be very prescriptive. It's what works best for you all while maintaining sort of these like national best practices.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because I was just looking at the chart the way it's shaded, and it looks like between BP2 and BP3, we were in certification, then we kind of fall off towards the end, and BP5 we're not even shaded in yet. So that's what brought me to that question, but thank you for the clarity.
Yeah. I didn't want to bore you guys, so I didn't bring too much information about each of the best practices. But you're right, and the reason why BP2, so best practice 2 is all about zoning. So it's about ensuring that's accessible, so that's best practice 2.1. Best practice 2.3 is ensuring you encourage mixed use by right. Best practice 2.4 is ensuring you have diverse housing typology. So like Mara mentioned, the quadplexes by right, that's something that helps you guys move over the threshold. 2.6 is ensuring that there's like green infrastructure, and then 2.5 is parking, trying to minimize the power of parking within your development site plans. And then the best practice 5 is sort of that proactive economic development stuff that has annual reporting tied to it, so that one's easy to fall out of sync, but I don't think you guys are too far off.
So does the quadplex take us up to 70% at least?
No, you already counted it, so yeah, it's already checked off. Yeah.
Stephanie, and I can add to the update to the zoning ordinance checked off 4, maybe even more, but 4 best practices. So our work with the zoning ordinance made us up to 66% and solidified our role and our progress in best practice 2. So congratulations, everyone. We know we have new work to do with economic development strategy and our marketing plan, but we did the zoning ordinance, so congratulations.
Yeah, that's the hardest part too, is zoning ordinance. So yeah, very good job. Yeah. Amen. Bless you. Okay, so I'll make sure to share this community snapshot and the best practice handbook, and then Ian has the details on the MISHDA housing readiness program, so you all can have that. And then if you ever feel like talking about any of the best practices or have questions in general of like what's something to do in the realm of development or anything, I know Mara and Ian and Kim can answer that, but if you ever need any extra help, happy to do so. Oh, yes.
I did have a question. So you're talking about like for housing and bringing more housing to Eastpointe. Is there a website that we can go and look at the MEDC resources for a community that is RRC certified, where we can find those resources? Is like a one spot?
So we have, it's myplace.org, and then through there you can navigate to RRC. In the realm of housing, if you wanted to see more information around increasing housing stock, we worked in partnership with MML, the Michigan Municipal League, to develop a pattern book. So if you guys remember back in the day when Sears Roebuck used to create like sort of these catalogs of like essentially the modular housing that was presented earlier today, but in a book, and you could like pick out which house you want and then you could go and build it. Well, MEDC and MML wanted to re-envision what that would look like in today, so we created this 21st century homes pattern book that really takes a look at how historically there's been an abundance of moderately dense housing that has been provided in Michigan, and that's really tied to our history in the industrial nature. So we had a lot of Black and brown white men that worked in the industries, in the automotive industries, in the early to mid 1900s, and they needed places to live, especially when they're coming up from the South. So we had a tendency to have duplexes and quadplexes and sixplexes and boarding houses. And then over the years, largely due to racist practices, we really diminished the availability of those types of housing and sort of outlawed it in our zoning ordinances. So this 21st century pattern book calls back to how the type of character that these moderately dense housing options provide communities are what we vie for, but we've innately made them illegal. So it's like, how do we bring those back to our communities? So that's a document, and then we're actually coming out with the 2.0 version. It hasn't been rolled out yet, but it'll come out soon. But you could find those resources on myplace.org. Sorry, I rambled for a minute, but.
No, thank you.
Yeah, Stephanie, we have some business owners in the room, so I was just hoping that you could talk to the Match on Main program for a second, and when applications, I think you said they start in January 2024, but what's the deadline and also criteria?
Yeah, so the Match on Main program is a little bit different because it's not something that I would recommend businesses apply to directly. So what Ian and Kim are going to do is that they're going to work with the DDA to coordinate sort of an application process. And then the DDA and the municipality are going to vet out which business owners would be, I say best suited, but I'm going to go back to what qualifies best suited, but best suited to be an applicant to then submit to MEDC. So it's kind of like this two-level verification. So when we're looking at what the ideal businesses would be, it's a business in a downtown or a concentrated commercial corridor like 9 Mile here. It's a business that's going to support vibrancy and that the investment is going to help that business scale up. And when we say best suited, it's a multitude of things. So there's a program guide that I can also make sure that Ian has. But when we're looking at scoring a community that has a business that's best suited, it's going to be a business that lends to support the redevelopment vision that was identified at the master plan and other plans. So there's a multitude of ways that could look, but essentially I would definitely just keep looped in with Kim and Ian and keep an eye out for that application process and make sure, for the city's point of view, making sure that's like a transparent process where you're like advertising it publicly and widely, because part of the application is asking how well did the city advertise the Match on Main program, and how well does your advertisement align with your redevelopment vision. So we can always connect you with Chelsea Beckman on the Small Business Services team, and she can talk through what would make a good application to make you guys more advantageous. So that's another very competitive pot of money, but something that I think would be really, really great for this community.
If I may, Mr. Chair. Stephanie, thank you. MEDC has been so supportive of Eastpointe in the past couple of years, especially with the different grants and the support that we get behind the scenes to apply for grants. So we so appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
She's there when we need her, any call, anytime. So with advice. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for your presentation.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Albright, since we are going to reconvene after we finish this to finish our couple of items on the Planning Commission meeting, would it be appropriate just to defer to the Zoning Board of Appeals so they can make their board member comments, and then we will restrain ourselves until we finish?
Chair, you could do that, and you could also just, somebody could pass a motion, just moving Planning Commission member comments until the actual meeting that's going to be continued.
Okay. Can I get a motion to do that, or do you wish to make comments at this section?
I'll make a motion that the planning commissioner's comments be placed at the end of the planning commission agenda.
We have motion, do we have support?
Support.
We have motion, support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck?
Yes.
Ms. Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Broll,
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde,
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, sure. And Chairman DeHunt.
Yes. Chairman Wilson, the floor is yours for comments.
All right, I'd like to say thank you very much for the training. It's good to know where we stand in the RRC and the MEDC. Interesting to see how that program's coming along for us, and a great meeting. It's been a pleasure working with you guys.
Thank you.
Same, I echo everything that Chair Wilson says.
Outside voice, she's in the window. She keeps coming to the window real loud.
She's going to stab us.
It's an honor to be a part of ZBA, and growth working with the planning commission. A lot of learning, moving around, and I'm excited.
I want to wish you all a happy holiday season. I noticed when I was driving here, I don't often drive at night, but I noticed a lot of the businesses on Gratiot have their lights up, and it looked so nice. So I just want to recognize Ian and some of the businesses he worked with in Eastpointe, Roseville, Chamber of Commerce, Fusion Marketing, probably a couple others who secured grants so that the businesses could do that and make our city look really beautiful for the holidays. I also want to mention, if you don't know, there is a holiday free store that's happening this weekend. It's at 21339 Gratiot, Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Some really dedicated volunteers have collected tons of donations of new and gently used toys, clothes, electronics, games, things like that, so that members of the community can come and pick out Christmas toys for their children at no cost. They don't check income requirements, they're not going to check identification, things like that. It's just a really great program to give everybody a nice Christmas and offset the financial burden that can come with Christmas. And then lastly, I want to say it's been a pleasure serving on this board. My term actually expired in May 2023 when I was appointed by council. I have remained on as we had some issues with flailing membership numbers, so I wanted to stay so that we had quorum, but I'll be submitting my formal resignation letter after this. So it's been a pleasure. Although my time on this board is coming to an end, I will still remain active in the community, so I hope to see you all around. Thanks.
Just want to thank you guys for this extra meeting because we really needed it. And thank you guys for us coming together. And I want to say happy holidays. And I will see you in January.
Thank you. Thank you, board, for accepting it, Mr. Chair and everybody. It's my honor to serve the community, and looking forward to bigger and better things with this community and with the board. And have a happy holiday. Be safe, eat plenty, and be merry.
Aren't you married when you eat?
Okay, being no further comments, I make a motion to adjourn the Zoning Board of Appeals. I have a second. May I get a vote, please?
My apologies, I did not hear the second.
Oh, second.
Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Gladden?
Chair Wilson,
Yes.
Member Gladney,
Yes.
Member Roscoe,
Yes.
Member Stokes,
Yes.
Member Swerkus, and
Yes.
thank you for your service. Member Williams.
Yes.
Can I get a motion to resume our meeting?
Let's adjourn this one.
Nope. Yes, sorry.
Zoning Board's adjourned.
He adjourned it. Do I need to adjourn as well? Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
No, you know, to
The
resume.
joint
Motion.
meeting?
Resume.
The joint
Motion
To
to
re-
adjourn the ZBA. I did not say anything about planning commission.
Can I get a motion to end the joint meeting for the planning commission?
So moved.
We have motion. Do we have-
Second.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
And who supported?
Leo.
Yes, and supported.
Thank you.
L and L.
Mr. Lubeck.
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde.
Yes.
Mr. Broll.
Yes.
Ms. Naylor.
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHaan.
Yes, thank God these joint meetings don't happen that often. All right, can I get a motion to resume our meeting?
So moved.
We have motion, do we have support?
Support.
Chair, do you mind if we take 1 minute to say goodbye?
I'll give you
As
three.
they exit?
I'll give you 3.
Okay.
Next time, do this, don't do it in December.
What?
Don't do the joint meeting in December.
Bye.
No.
So we can talk festivities, but we gotta keep going.
I don't know, but I'm certainly not going to Sweetwater. Go to Gilbert's.
So are you the permanent liaison now? You are? What's your first name again? Okay, I'm only asked like 3 times, so I'm sorry.
no, it's okay, it's gonna take a minute.
Right? Yeah. Yes. Huh? Problem.
You gotta stand
So, you've seen it on TV before, is this what you expected? You have? Okay. This is relative, that's to say, but, you know.
I have been, it's much better than it was.
Get that, I mean, this was obviously different. It's a whole lot more history here. Once a year we do that. Oh my gosh, you're
I start outpatient therapy tomorrow.
I know they frustrated the heck out of you, didn't they? Like, yeah, I know y'all can talk.
Oh, the look
about
in your eye is like she's gonna stab it.
Oh, totally.
It's a new system.
No, they didn't have a temporary.
They were supposed to pass it.
I used to come here and sit in the corner out there.
I'm sorry, who supported?
Lubeck and Glad. Not Gladney.
Ms. Naylor?
Naylor. Oh,
Mr. Lubeck?
yes.
Ms. Naylor? Mr. Broll?
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde?
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHaan?
Yes. All right, picking up where we left off.
I'd like, Mr. Chair, if I could, I'd like to make a motion to table item B under new businesses, which is where we're picking up, until the January meeting.
Microphone on?
Did you say about this one sheet of paper?
The orientation package?
They say package, but it's just one sheet of paper. I think we could approve this, this is what we've seen 101 times.
In the PDF, there's a whole nother section, including that, starts with that.
Chair?
Please.
The Eastpointe Planning Commission Orientation Packet 2023 to 2024 is right after the minutes in the packet. It begins with a picture of the zoning map.
So you're not looking for us to read through this whole thing into the record, you're just looking for us to approve this?
Yes, Chair.
You don't have this?
Here it is.
I got it.
Here it is.
She gave me her copy.
Oh. Well, we have a motion to table. Do we have any support for it?
Sounds like a good idea. I'll support that.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck?
Yes.
Mr. Broll?
Yes.
Ms. Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde?
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, no. Chairman DeHunt?
No. The item is tabled. Moving on to unfinished business, item A.
No, we have new business item C, which
Oh, I'm
is the
sorry. Yes.
disclosure form.
All right, thank you. So under new business, item C, you should have your disclosure form at each of your seats. I would request that you fill it out in its entirety. And once completed, just set it right on top of the podium there so Kim can collect them. I don't know if we even need a motion. Do we need a motion for this?
No.
Okay. So there we go. Your disclosure forms minus Ms. Moody, who is excused, are done. Now we can move on to item 7. Consider approving the 2024 Planning Commission calendar.
Make a motion that we consider approving the 2024 Planning Commission calendar.
We have motion. Do we have support?
Support.
I believe that there was a date change, Ms. Holman, for January?
Chair?
Yes.
Yes, so the thing to know about this change is that the next meeting, if passed, will be January 11th. So not the first Thursday, but the second Thursday of January.
And the reason being?
Mr. Chair, so the city is preparing its capital improvement plan and would like to bring that before to Planning Commission before it goes to City Council. And the timing with the holidays just would be, if approved, give us the opportunity to have more detailed information available to the Planning Commission.
Can we do we need to amend the motion to change the date, or you're content with the way?
The motion is to approve the new dates, which the only change is that January meeting.
Okay, so we have motion and support.
Well, technically, the motion was to consider approving.
So can we get a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Okay, wait, well, we currently have a motion on the floor that probably has to be approved.
Can't you just amend it?
Can we
I
amend?
will amend a motion to remove the word consider.
And to replace with approve?
Yes, approve the 2024 Planning Commission calendar.
Does support still support that?
Yes.
I just read what was on the paper, I wasn't really thinking.
We have motion and we have support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck?
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Mr. Broll?
Yes.
Ms. Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde?
Yes.
Chairman DeHunt?
Yes. So we have our hearing of the public. The public is a little wanton at the moment. So as there is still being the public, we will move on to, why do we not have commission? Oh, all right. So we're going to, can we add commissioner comments in here?
Yes.
Okay. So can I get a motion to add commissioner comments as item 9?
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
We have motion and support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Broll?
Yes.
Mr. Lubeck?
Yes.
Ms. Naylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lalonde?
Yes.
Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHunt?
Yes. Ms. Holman, you're on deck. Anything inspiring?
Well, that's a tough assignment. No, I appreciate you guys' patience. with our technical difficulties. Yeah, we clearly need some more equipment and some better, yes, I'm sorry. I so apologize for that. Our old systems seem to be better. This new system needs some new pieces of equipment. We will work on that, get that fixed before the next joint meeting. So our apologies.
Ms. Brzezowski.
Yeah, I would echo that. I would say thank you for your patience, those present today and at home as we navigate a joint meeting. These are rare, but they're really important, and they help us meet our requirements to be redevelopment ready certified. So thank you for everyone. And also, I'm going to ask the Planning Commission to have some homework for the January 11th meeting. You have an extra week. So I would ask that you look at the master plan and make sure that you're okay with the goals. We'll be talking about the goals on January 11th. And then also, when you review the master plan, flip through it. It's got great graphics, good community engagement. Also, identify any gaps of information that's important to you that you think that we need to add during this next update. So gaps could be a transportation plan, more sustainability initiatives, a housing plan, all of that. So think about gaps and think about goals. Happy holidays.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Mara, would you please send that by email to the current plan to everybody? And then if anybody would like a hard copy, please let us know and we'll have it delivered.
Oh, also, Chair, and everyone viewing at home, the master plan is located on the Planning Department webpage. And check out the Planning Department webpage. We've got great resources out there. We keep updating the Planning Department webpage to be user-friendly, developer-friendly, and also easy to find data, so data-friendly. Thank you.
Mr. McCain.
Good evening, Planning Commission. Just wanted to thank everyone and say great job on a joint meeting despite the technical difficulties. I'm glad we were able to get this in before the end of the year, and also thanks to Stephanie and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation for their continued support of the Gateway to Macomb County through the Redevelopment Ready Communities program. I did want to let you know that there is some trainings coming up in 2024 if you are interested in learning more about some of the 5 best practices that Stephanie talked about tonight. So they both have on their website, on that myplace.org link that she mentions, a self-guided one that you can go through that I went through and found really informative. The other training that I'm mentioning, I think it's like late January through February, is more of a cohort base. So just depending on what you prefer, what your schedule looks like, they have options. Yes, and we'll send, I'll email a link to the self-guided training, and then also to the more cohort style training that'll be happening in early 2024. Wanted to take a moment also to welcome Councilmember Pachadlik to her first Planning Commission meeting, and first CBA meeting, I guess, as well. And then last but certainly not least, happy holidays and happy new year to everyone. Thank you.
Mr. Albright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to wish everyone again Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Councilwoman Pachadlik.
I'd like to thank everyone for being so kind and welcoming today as well. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to wish you all a happy holiday as well. That's all.
Thank you. Mr. Lalonde.
My appointment to the Planning Commission expires at the end of December. I decided to let it expire, so I won't be asking for a reappointment to the board. But I enjoyed working with you. You people are terrific. It's been tough, but it's also been fun, so like I say, you guys are great people. And I waited this long because I wanted, if there was going to be a new mayor, I wanted he or she to have that appointment, my appointment. That's why I'm announcing it right now. That's it.
Ms. Naylor.
Klaus, happy holidays to everyone. I won't say eat a lot, I'll say rest well. Sometimes we get so busy, use the time to rest the body. It's always an honor to see a year close out and anticipate what new beginnings. I'm looking forward to the development here in Eastpointe, especially in the realm of housing. I think there's a lot we can do. I tend to be a little more active with that. I look forward to our new administration, and again, welcome our councilwoman. So I look forward to a new year, some new leadership, and continue to revitalize the community in our city. Thank you.
Ms. Ulinski.
Good evening. Thank you. Guess what? I have something to say. Leo, you'll be very, very missed. Very missed. Margaret, welcome. We're glad to have you. As always, thank you for all you do for the training. Ian, Mara, Kim, can't do anything without you. Very appreciative. One thing that maybe caught my attention during Stephanie's presentation was the teeth of code enforcement. Stop laughing. I know it's a sore spot. It's a sore spot amongst administration, I'm sure. It's a sore spot amongst residents. It's a sore spot amongst me, especially when they're going to do this new business grant for the businesses in the DDA when we don't have compliant DDA businesses. It doesn't get past me that the effort is definitely there. What people do is uncontrollable. So with that, we know I'm going to go on my dance of lighting. I just feel that, I've gathered some other information where I was getting bad intel of, it not passing the courts and stuff, but apparently that's not true. So I just feel businesses slap us in the face. It's what it feels like to me. I can't speak for everyone, just me. And I'm all about supporting businesses. I'm all about supporting whatever is best for everyone. I wish you luck with the teeth of code enforcement, and hopefully that will be better in the new year. Maybe that's a goal. Not that we don't have 1 million, but, I just think that that is an important part of the city administration that needs to be addressed, and getting, I don't know if it's the right people, the right training, or what it is. Gosh, if there's anything I can do, I will be glad to help. I can have a ticket book, right? But seriously, I do know that your efforts are there, but it is one thing that always sticks in my side. I wish everyone a wonderful holiday. I can't wait for the new year. My appointment too is up at the end of December. I think at this point, I'm going to be honest and thought about not renewing it. I feel that the work we're doing is really good. And while I did consider stepping down, I think I'm going to like the administration and hopefully the more support with the new council. And I look forward to working with everybody still and hoping that we can keep moving forward and bring all these new things and killing that 34% left we have for, yes, thank you. Because it seems attainable. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Mr. Broll.
Yeah, I'm not sure who set up the MEDC coming out, but the presentation today added value to me. I appreciate them coming out. I did not have an appreciation what redevelopment-ready communities designation, the benefits of it, what it meant. So it was really valuable for me, so I appreciate it. And beyond that, Leo, sorry to hear that you are leaving, but thank you so much for all the years of service. It's been great working with you. How many years were you appointed?
I served, you appointed for 5 years, but I served, I fulfilled a partial term, so I think it's 4 years would be my guess.
No, it's
No,
more than that, Leo.
it's gotta be double
More
that.
than that.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
No, kid.
Yeah.
Time flies,
Leo,
huh,
you've
Leo?
been here as long as I've been here, and it's 11 for me.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Well, thank you, Leo. And boy, I thought you were going a different way with that, Sheila, but, so,
As did I.
yeah, she's still hungry for it. So,
30 and out.
so anyways, I'll end it with the happy
We're gonna vote
holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you guys in January.
Vice Chairman Lubeck.
Oh, so many thoughts. Leo, you've been a legend in my mind for years. I really don't think the community understands what you've given to them. Back in the days of being a state representative. And you will be missed. It's like often said amongst some of the commissioners, Leo doesn't often have a lot to say, but when he says something, he says a lot. And that's important. We all see things from a different perspective, and you have a perspective that I don't think anybody else could possibly have. And that's been appreciated. Enforcement. I just want to let Commissioner Ulinski know her request for the new gas station up the street next to the whatever facility that's going to turn out to be, still has not turned off the rope lights they promised to when they were in front of us. I've got 2 requests when it comes to enforcement and putting teeth to it. Those teeth need to be swift and they need to be sharp. We need to have it known in this community that we are not messing around. And unfortunately, that seems to be what it is. They all know that we can do whatever we want, particularly if it's after business hours and on a weekend. Trees, we need landscaping, we just need to right-size that ordinance for this community. Councilwoman Pochette, welcome as our new liaison. Hope you enjoy this as much as most of us do. We're serious about our work, but we also have a fun side. Sometimes that gets away from us. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. To those that celebrate that, to those that don't, happy holidays for whatever your celebration is. Pardon? Yes, and today is the start of Hanukkah. So it's just kind of interesting how all in a very short time period, there is a multicultural type of celebration amongst each group. With that, I think I am done with my comments for this evening.
Thank you. Welcome, Councilwoman Pashadlak. We get a little nutty sometimes, but we are passionate, to say the very least. I, too, am up and have submitted my application, so with any amount of luck, I will get the privilege of continuing the arduous work, especially when I know that the master plan is going to rear its head very soon, probably. But you don't go forward without the work. So, don't always make friends when you do those things, but sometimes the tough decisions take tough actions. Leo, you're breaking my heart here. But I am happy to say that Leo can usually be found on Thursday afternoons at Cloverleaf when he goes to his Rotary meeting. Wednesday, pardon me. So, if you need a Leo Lalonde fix, he'll be there on Wednesday afternoons, because I've run into him a few times. Leo, you are emblematic of the politicians of the good old days. And I wish we had more people like that today. And you will be greatly missed. I do want to pay condolences to 3 very influential people in this world. You might not agree with them or not. The passing of Dr. Kissinger, the passing of Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, and the passing of Rosalind Carter. 3 powerful individuals that changed the face of this world. So they will be greatly missed, and hopefully people will learn something from every one of them. I have been in Zoom meetings for the last 3 days, and my owners are Israeli, and they jumped on a plane today from Florida to go back to their home because their sons have been called up to service. Their son-in-laws have been called up to service. So my owners have gone back to Israel to support their family. How many people do you know, what civilization do you know that is willing to hop on a plane and literally go back to a war zone when you have the threat of a rocket going through your house at any moment? We should be so fortunate in this country to have the passion that the Israeli people have. They love their country. They will go back to a war zone. I wish that people appreciated what they have here. Having put a pall over the evening, I'm going to say happy holidays to everybody. And apparently Ms. Holman needs me.
If I may, Mr. Chair, before everybody adjourns, I did want to let the commissioners know that per City Council's recommendation, that interviews and final offers are being made to bring the building department back in-house, which makes it much more accountable, and to hire some, again, new, in-house inspectors, code and rental inspectors. So we're really looking forward to making some great changes with that. We appreciate what McKenna did and all the help that they provided to clean up what was there. But we're moving forward. And also, we are very closely reviewing different ordinances, not just the zoning ordinance, but also other ordinances, sadly based on what we are seeing out in the business community and the things that people are trying to pull. So we will be, hopefully, with council's approval, be bringing some changes that will allow better enforcement based on some best practices, of course, through the city attorney and with McKenna's help. But we are aware of that, administration is aware of that, and some of the things that are going on. So we're looking forward to moving ahead with the new mayor and council.
Maybe a nice part-time person for code enforcement that works from like 6 to 10, 5 days a week. That would be nice. Hey, I have a friend on Bell.
We can't afford you.
I have a friend on Bell that would do it for free. All right, having said that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, support. Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Lubeck?
Yes.
Ms. Naylor? Mr. Broll?
Yep.
Mr. Lalonde?
For the last time.
I know, I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to say that. Ms. Julinski, yes. Chairman DeHunt?
Yes. Leo, you snubbing us tonight, or you're going to go with us? It's the last time. All right, Gilbert's. Meeting adjourned.